Welcome back to American Agenda. The Trump campaign doesn't have many official spokespeople, and that's because the president's best spokesperson is himself. That is one of the things that makes Mr. Trump different from presidents of the past. There is a reason red baseball caps have become synonymous with Make America Great Again. It's branding. Here was some insight on the Trump brand and how the president gets his message to Americans. Is branding advisor to CEOs and Newsmax columnist Marc Rudov, and he is also the author of the book Intra-Branding, the Keystone of Corporate Agility. So, Marc, thanks for joining us, sir. Tell me what your assessment is, how you would describe the Trump brand.
I don't know what it is right now. My new book, Intra-Branding, is all about selling and enforcing the brand or the message inside the organization. That means everybody inside the organization has to be rowing in the same direction, speaking the same message. Otherwise, it fails outside the building. Right now, I don't know what it is because on a daily basis, Trump changes it. For example, the other day, he hinted that maybe Kamala Harris, maybe she's not born in the United States. Maybe she's not eligible to be vice president. Why he did that, I don't know, because that's a distraction. So you have Trump, you have Pence, you have McEnany, you have McDaniel, all as spokespeople out there. But are they all saying the same thing? Not necessarily. And then Donald Trump changes his message willy-nilly. That is verboten in branding. And so the red hat used to be associated with the Trump campaign, but it isn't anymore. Because of COVID, because of the riot, things have changed. And he's not getting any new message out there, whereas Biden is putting out a commercial every 5 minutes. Yeah. So, and then just a few weeks ago, I was on your show and I talked about that 911 commercial. But there aren't riots in every city. So that commercial does not apply. Where I live, there are no riots. We have no trouble with the cops here. So that doesn't apply here. So what message is there for us?
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about a message, because I remember back in the day, for instance, Jimmy Carter seemed to be in over his head, and he tried to get involved with everything, and he couldn't handle it. So then Ronald Reagan came in, and he seemed to be in control. And one thing he did really well was delegate. He would pick the message. I don't know if you agree with this, but in my assessment, he would pick the message, and then he'd send out Michael Deaver, Jim Baker, Ed Meese. They would go out there to all the talk shows and carry out that message. And basically what you're saying is Trump isn't doing that, and he probably should.
Well, not only is he not doing that, but he's supposed to be on board as well. And he isn't. As I said, he changes it on a daily basis as the mood strikes him.
Interesting.
And a couple of weeks ago, the Wall Street Journal and NBC did a poll, and apparently 59% of Americans think we live in a racist country, which we don't. A country which twice elected Obama and made Oprah a billionaire. We do not live in a racist country. So there's nothing countering that. And a lot of people, because Biden is always wearing that black mask and hiding in his basement and never answering questions, he successfully conveyed the message that we're in a serious COVID lockdown still, and we should be wearing masks for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
And there's no counter to that either. So I'm concerned the election's not that far away, Bob. And I don't know. And social media is a disaster for Trump. Only 22% of Americans are on Twitter, and 69% of Americans are on Facebook. And both of those organizations have clamped down on Trump and are censoring him. So that's limiting him.
Yeah.
The other networks are fawning over Kamala Harris. They think she's a pragmatic moderate. So how's Trump going to get his message out when he doesn't even have one?
Okay, let's back it up, though, in the 45 seconds we have. What do you think he needs to do to improve that? I've thought that if he didn't tweet between now and November 3rd, he'd actually get reelected, but that's not going to happen. So what do you think he should do right now?
He needs to be making more speeches, and he needs to be in coordination with his subordinate,
right,
and his staff, anybody who talks to the press. They all need to be on the same message, and they need to get some effective commercials out there showing what America will be like in a Biden's America when people are massively unemployed and they're under the thumb of this fascist dictatorship, which can take over if we're not careful. That means no guns, that means no coal, no oil. I mean, we're in trouble, and there's no countering to that. There's no message like that. People need to know what's going to happen to their pocketbooks if Biden becomes the president, and his sidekick, the corrupt DA from San Francisco, the corrupt attorney general from Sacramento. She's not a pragmatic moderate.
Right.
She's a radical leftist. And people need to understand that, and Trump is not getting that message out in a cohesive, uniform, coordinated way.
Okay. All right. Some advice for the president from Marc Rudov. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.